Today is Tuesday, February 2nd, 2016, and the title of this rant will be Hillary. A win is a win is a win. Hillary barely beked out a win last night, and I'll get to the whole political part in a second, but, a win is a win, and that's the way Americans love winners. There's really no moral victory in a loss, so to speak. Now, let me just do one or two quick sports analogies. The other day, Golden State, which has in NBA basketball 32-4 record, was playing Philadelphia with about a 4-32 record. I don't know what they're about like that. Golden State being the best in the NBA, Philadelphia obviously the worst in the NBA. It was tied with like 1.3 seconds left. Golden State had the ball, guy got it, knocked it in, game over. No moral victory for Philadelphia. And, in 1989, 1990, Magic Johnson went down in the first game of the NBA final against the Detroit Pistons. I think Byron Scott had already gone down. And, of course, they lost the series 4-0. But you're not going to read about that very much. You're just going to read that Detroit won NBA championships that year. And of course, there are some examples where, someone who's hobbled and comes out and becomes an even greater hero. One was Willis Reed in the 1970 NBA championships when he hobbled out, limping out onto the court, hit a quick 12-foot jumper. The crowd went wild. It was in Madison Square Garden. That was his seventh game. He didn't play a whole lot that game, but just his presence out there did that. And then what was the other one? Kirk Gibson, a baseball player, came limping out to hit, and I think it was in extra innings, hit a home run. Game over. That's the way it is. No moral victory in losing, especially in sports. Now, in politics, it can be different. Marco Rubio is going to claim he won. Bernie Sanders is going to claim he won. Both of them have ample reasons to be really excited about what happened. And maybe this will be the beginning of the tide for them to turn. I really could care less about Rubio, but let's look at it this way. There's one other thing in politics. There was a moral victory at one point in time that I could actually say truly happened. I believe it was 1968. Eugene McCarthy was running against President Lyndon Johnson in the New Hampshire primary, because I don't think they had an Iowa back then. And, Johnson was a sitting president. Vietnam was in full swing. A number of riots had occurred in the number of years before. Eugene McCarthy got 42% of the vote. I believe Johnson had 48%. So that would be considered a moral victory, because Johnson then decided to go out. That brought Bobby Kennedy in, who was later assassinated. That also, after that, Hubert Humphrey came in. Both of them would have deposed Eugene McCarthy. Humphrey did. I don't believe Eugene McCarthy actually endorsed Humphrey until the last week or two of the election. And of course, Humphrey had been gaining up quite a bit. He started out pretty far behind because he had so many coattails to Lyndon Johnson. But that could have been considered a victory for Eugene McCarthy. But Hillary's campaign, if it hasn't been shaken up before, it's got to be shaken up now. Don't know how much they can redo over her positions or anything. Maybe she'll go a little bit more to the left. Maybe she'll go quite further to the left. She lost strategically in Iowa the young vote. She's lost strategically in Iowa on the trustworthy issue. Those could, and of course, not just looking at Bernie, looking at the Republicans and what they're looking at. They are going to be looking at that headstrong. They're also going to go back on the emails in Benghazi. But for most Democrats and most independents, those issues are just done with. So she's really got to working on the young people. She's really got to work on her trustworthiness, so to speak. But now we're going to go to New Hampshire for Bernie. He's an adopted son from from Vermont, the next state next door. He should do pretty well there. He's scheduled to win. But after that, it starts to favor Hillary, and that's why it's been 5-1. If you were a betting person, that it would be Hillary is going to still take the nomination. The example would be is if you bet $100 in Vegas on Hillary to win the nomination, you'd win $20. So it's 5-1. And why is that? Is because, number one, the next after New Hampshire, of course, things can change between now and South Carolina, approximately 2 weeks from now. A lot can change, but right now Hillary is like 40 points ahead in South Carolina. It could get closer. Don't know how much it can get closer. Right now, Hillary has the black vote by more than 40% in South Carolina. What was Iowa? 92% white. New Hampshire will be 80-something% white. So South Carolina, I believe the Democratic voter registrations is 50% black, something like that. In Nevada, which is coming up the week after South Carolina, heavily Hispanic. Hillary is way ahead on the Hispanic vote against Bernie. So you can say it's definitely a moral victory for Bernie. It's onward and upward. Keep working that progressive label. Keep working with those young people. Get those enthusiastic crowds everywhere. For Hillary, it's going to be got to work on the trustworthiness. Got to work on getting the excitement that those young people are bringing to Bernie's campaign. We'll see what happens in New Hampshire, and we'll see if it starts to reverse itself back towards Hillary when we get to South Carolina.